Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Connor. And today we're going to be talking about what you can do when your appraisal value comes in too low, whether you're on the buying side or on the selling side. We're going to cover both. Let's get into it. So let's start with the buying side first. Number one, you can appeal the appraisal or try to find a different lender who is going to most likely use a different appraiser. When you appeal the appraisal, you're going to want to have one or two comps at least that sold at a higher price that you think that the appraiser should have used in their appraisal, which would have given your property a higher appraisal value. Or you could try to find a different lender who's going to use a different appraiser, but they might end up appraising it at right around the same value, and then you're going to end up paying for two appraisals and going through the whole process twice. Number two, you can make up the difference in cash. So the lender is only going to lend against the property of that appraisal value. They're not going to go higher than that. So what you can do is you can agree to make up that difference between the appraisal value and the sales price with cash, and that would be out of pocket. Number three, and probably your best option and probably the most reasonable as well, is to ask for a price reduction from the sales price to the appraisal value. So if you agreed to buy the home at $500,000 and the home appraised at $490,000, then you would simply ask the seller to reduce the sales price from $500,000 to $490,000 so your loan can be accepted. Now I say it's probably the best and most reasonable because A, as the buyer, you don't have to take money out of pocket to cover the difference. And B, as long as there's not some crazy frenzy going on for this house, the seller should be happy to do that because at the end of the day, that appraisal value is the maximum value that that home can sell for if the buyer is using a conventional loan, which most buyers do. So it should be a pretty good deal for them as well. Number four is you could put less money down for the loan, and then you could take that money and put it towards making up that difference. So basically you'd be decreasing your down payment and increasing the amount of money that you're gonna loan from the bank, and then you take that extra money that you took out of the down payment and you'd use it to cover the difference between, again, the appraisal value and what you agreed to buy the property at. And number five, as the buyer, you can use your financing contingency and back out of the deal. Because the sales price was higher than the appraisal value, you have every right to gracefully back out of that deal and cancel the contract. All right, now let's talk about if you're on the selling side, what can you do? So number one, and kind of similar to what I talked about in the buying side, you can ask the buyer to challenge the appraisal and maybe help them and provide a couple comps as to what properties have sold that are very similar that would have inherently raised the appraisal value if the appraiser used those when he was making his appraisal versus the couple properties he or she ended up choosing. Number two, you can force the buyer to either make up the difference between the appraisal value and the sales price with out-of-pocket cash, or tell them they need to convert that deal entirely to cash. Now, this is going to be hard for most buyers. Most buyers won't have that extra cash money, and most buyers won't be as fluid in being able to convert from a lending deal to an all-cash deal. A lot of times, if people have the cash, they're probably going to use that to purchase it versus having a loan, but it is an option. Number three, you could renegotiate the price to the appraisal value so that the buyer can go ahead and get accepted for that loan. Now, really, the only reason you wouldn't want to do this is if you've got a lot of buyers on the table, and especially if you have cash buyers. So if you have a cash buyer, let's say for this $500,000 home, right? If you had a cash buyer who was willing to pay $500,000 for it, but you decided to go with these conventional buyers who were willing to pay $500,000 for it, and the appraisal came back at $490,000, and now these conventional buyers want to only pay $490,000, well, then, the opportunity cost is greater, and you might want to either force them to make up the difference or just back out of it, right? And go with that cash buyer at the $500,000 because they're not going to be as worried about the appraisal value. They can still buy it. Now, if you are very set on getting that sales price and the buyers don't have the cash, you can offer to seller finance that difference. So for example, with that $490,000 appraisal value and the $500,000 sales price, you can offer to give them a seller financing loan of $10,000 so that they can make up that difference. And you'll also get some nice interest on that as well. Number five, you could offer to split the difference. So in that same scenario, come down to the $495,000 for the sales price, and then the buyers would have to make up that $5,000 difference with their own out-of-pocket cash. I never really recommend splitting the difference. It's not a great or strong negotiation tactic, but it's something that a lot of people do, And so sometimes if that's what you're okay with, you could go ahead and do that. And then the last thing is you could cancel the deal. You're set on getting your home sold for $500,000, but let's say it's only appraising at $475,000. If it's not worth it to you to sell your home at $475,000, you can go ahead and cancel the deal, wait till it appreciates more, and then try to sell it at that point. So there you have it. Whether you're the buyer or the seller, there's what you can do if the appraisal value does come in below the sales price. It doesn't happen often, especially when you have a real estate agent who knows the pricing in that market and knows exactly what that home should be worth, and make sure that whether you're on the buying side, you're negotiating well below that, or whether you're on the selling side, you're getting as close as possible to that. But again, sometimes it does happen. So it's good to know what you can do, whether you're on the buying side or the selling side. If you've got any specific questions, or if there's something I didn't cover in the video, go ahead and drop a comment below. I'll be sure to answer it. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like or share it with a friend. And if you like real estate and you want to learn more about it or just stay up to date in the market, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I make more real estate videos just like this that are all super easy to understand. But that's it for me. So until next time, this is Conor Green. Have a great day.